Just getting set up here. I'm going to wait for a couple people to come in. Hello everyone, this is Tim Spakowski, yet again from Footsore North America Studios. I have like an hour before I have to get moving and do family stuff. So I have an hour, and several of you have messaged me asking to do multicam videos. So this is going to be literally a speed painting of multicam. And I am not going to have all the time to finish this figure, but I am going to at least get all the uniform done and do the multicam camouflage. So let's see. I hope everyone can see this. Hang on 1 second here. So I have reference guides, of course, to the top right corners of the screen there, of both the blouse and the pants. Also off camera, hi David. Also off camera to the left, I have a pair of multicam hanging, so I can literally just look to the left of me and see a blouse and pants. I talk about having uniforms for reference guides. I think it's a great thing to have. Highly recommend them. Several people have asked also, is the multicam, the way you paint multicam, is it the same as Britain's new Camouflage? Is it the same as the new U.S. Army, quote, multicam, or whatever they're calling it today? My answer to this is yes. We are war gamers. We're not painting for competitions or dioramas, at least, something that we could put on the table. So at our scale, this, in my opinion, this pattern in this way works. So yes, you could use this same technique for all those different nationalities. In fact, I happen to have on my table one of our new Urban SAS figures, and yes, people may say, hey, it's supposed to be in black or black multicam, which I'll do a painting demo on that. But hey, it's an awesome looking figure. It's primed, it's zenithal primed, zenithal highlighted with different shades of blues and greens and browns. I thought, so I'll just use this figure. It doesn't matter. Let the haters hate. So, okay, let's get on with this. My main colors. This changes as well, depending upon my mood and what paint is in front of me. I do have a recipe book. I have a couple where I've written things down over time, and kept them. So this is one of my written recipes. It does change though, but will work for this demonstration. The base color is Vallejo model Panzer Aces British Tank Crew. That's the base. A highlight will be Vallejo Khaki. Third highlight, Dark Sand. And then ultra highlight, if you want, would be, it's hard to see, Pale Sand. Then for the brown stripes, let's just call it brown stripes, medium brown stripes, I use Vallejo model color chocolate brown. For the green stripes, I use flat green. Yes, Andy, this is multi-spec, multi-camo, multi-everything. For the dark brown stripes, I use my trusty Vallejo Camo Black Brown. And then for the dots, which is the most important part of the camouflage, in my opinion, I will use Game Color Off-White. Now you could also use, and I have used, Bone White, which is fine. Honestly, it just depends on my mood and what I'm trying to achieve. So that's it. That's the recipe. Now, I am going to use, for the base coat, I hope this is focused in and everything. Thanks, Glenn. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Glenn is on his way from Georgia over here to Footsore North America headquarters. Okay, let's see here. I'm looking in my contrast paints. I really like contrast paints for establishing base coats. And most recently, I've been using them for shades and glazes after I have painted something to dull things down. What I find is that because it's heavily pigmented, that pigment just settles really nice into the shades or into the layers of where the shadow is. So I will show that technique as well. So I've grabbed one of my favorite contrast skeleton horde. So I'm going to mix contrast horde with a British tank crew to establish a shade. We're also it's going to be painted thin so that we utilize the shades that I have created via the pre-shading process. Okay, so on my handy palette here, I apologize if I'm bumping the screen or the camera. Tomorrow Glenn will see how all this is set up, and he'll probably leave right away because it's crazy in here. Okay. So that's the Skeleton Horde. This is Vallejo Panzer Aces Tank Crew. So I'm going to mix that up. Okay. Now that the model color it's a much thicker paint. So for me to establish or create a wash or a glaze, I'm going to use Vallejo Thinner Medium. I have like 12 of these things here. I have so much supplies here, and I recommend having this. It's very nice thinner. You can use other thinners, but that's just what I have on hand and I use. So let's see here. How does this look? A little thick. So I'm going to use some glaze medium. Because I'm not trying to, I want to cover the figure, of course, but I'm not trying to have it so dark that it's going to lose all those shades that we've done already. Okay, one more. Yep, that's the problem sometimes with the Panzer or the Vallejo Panzer Aces in the model color. It's not game color, which I really prefer. Let's see. That's better. Okay, so here we go. I'm just going to make sure that figure is in focus, make sure that I can see the damn thing, and I'm just going to apply the paint. Oh no! My figure fell. Hang on 1 second. I bumped him. Okay, let's see here. So just applying it. Pretty easy here. Nothing much to see here other than I'm just letting this paint flow into the crevices. Could be a little bit thinner, which is fine, so I'll just add some more thinner. Okay, almost done here. For this demonstration, the web gear itself, the chest rig and everything, I'll just paint a khaki. Because, like I said, I'm primarily just focusing on the multicam technique here. Because I see a lot of people in the Modern Warfare group ask about it. there people have done videos and PDFs of color patterns and ways. I made a video, I think it was last year, on multicam, and it's posted in this group, or I'm sorry, in my YouTube channel, and it's a rather long one, so my technique has kind of changed since then. So this is a lot faster. I'm going to do this sucker in an hour. Okay, I think I've got everything here. I hope you guys can see it good. I apologize if it's out of focus. Okay, let's see. And there's the funniest thing. I've got this brush, and I'm moving this figure, the figure and the brush all around. It's a big brush. It's a number 8 round, and I still find myself missing little spots and spaces. Okay. Awesome. Yep. And also, just like the contrast paint, if you see too much pooling, you can just take your brush and wipe it right off. Okay. Great. Yeah, because what I'm wanting still is the the pre-shading to come out, so which will save us time. Okay. Now to start on the highlights, what I'm going to do is, like I always do in my videos, I show you guys. I go back to the base color that I've used, and then I will add the base shade, and then I'll add another drop or two of, like, so this is British Tank Crew. So I'm starting to build the highlights. And sometimes the change is subtle, which is what I want, but that also makes it a challenge when you're trying to do a video, so people can actually see what the heck's going on here. Okay, so this paint is wet. Hope you can see it. Okay, I'm going to start applying some highlights here, just to where the light would be hitting top most of the folds. I like doing this when the paint's wet because it takes advantage of when the paint dries itself, since they're thin layers. It dries. It does the work. Let the paint do its work by drying together and creating those transparent layers. And it's such a time saver too, especially if you're speed painting and you've got a whole bunch of units to, say like a 10-man unit to paint. I remember I would base coat the figure, go to the next figure, make sure everything was dry before I did the second highlights and stuff like that. But with this technique, I don't. Everything's just wet. Okay, again, I'm not really going to work the web gear. Okay, I'm going to add another drop of the British Tank Crew. Building these highlights now. And focus. Good. Starting to just add the paint just on the folds, again, where the light is hitting it the most. And it's subtle, and that's okay. It's hard, like I said, sometimes it could be hard seeing on the camera, but I like the subtlety because I don't have any freaking out effects going on in my internally here, like, oh crap, I just screwed this up royally. Okay. Now we will go to the first, well, the second highlight really is dark sand. Actually, I'm sorry. Oops. Woo. Too fast. Khaki. Let's get some khaki in here. Thin layers of paint. Okay, here we go. We may start seeing some better transitions here. Not doing a lot of, a lot of detail work. That's not what this is about. This is about really establishing the base uniform or the base coat. I hope you guys like the videos that I'm doing, and I'm always open to suggestions and other patterns and stuff. I know that multicam, the dark multicam, was requested a while back when I painted up the Grom unit in the dark multicam, black multicam. I painted those up because I was watching Sicario 2, and in the beginning of the film, they had a team inserting, and it appeared that they were all wearing black multicam. So I thought, oh, that's perfect, because the figures that we just released fit wonderfully for that. So it was great timing. Okay, let's see. Here we go. Yep, now we're starting to see the transitions. Hopefully you can see that. Learning how to get this camera in focus and all the settings, it's quite a learning curve, because trying to get it so that everyone can see what the heck I'm doing, and it's been a challenge. But I think I got it now. So okay. Yep. Okay, now I'm going to go to Vallejo Dark Sand. Shake that up real quick. Put some dark sand in there. Now this is going to be one of the very first big shifts in color. Yeah. Let's see if you see that. Nice point. Okay. Okay, now I'm going a little bit slower, and I'm using this point on this 40-cent craft brush, and which is allowing me to just hit the top parts of those lines and creating highlights. Also, with this color, you could paint the chest part of the combat shirt, and then you can build off of that color and make it lighter as well, so that it's not the same color as your other highlights, so it stands out. Okay, still working these highlights here. hoping that you can see it. I really like the pose of this figure. Mr. Glenn Kapheim did the modeling of this figure. He put a lot of detail in this figure. Oh, you know what? I've got this highlighted color. I might as well just start working on the helmet. See the helmet, all the different little, let's see, it can come up, all the different little stuff on the helmet, all the accoutrement on the helmet. Okay, so now I'm going to use the final one again, which is the pale sand. This is going to be our quote extreme highlight. Thin this down. I want this paint thin because I don't want it just to be, bam, just a very cream color. Such a change and transition that I have just hosed myself in a way. Okay, here we go. Yep. Hopefully you can see that. I know that the light, the figure, the paint is wet, and I see that the light is bouncing off of it, the glare. But after I'm done with this, I will use my trusty $10 hair dryer, dry this, and we'll see what the figure looks like. Yep, just getting the extreme highlights where all the edges are. Okay, I think we are good. Because the paint's thin, a lot of times as I'm moving around, it starts drying, of course, and then I can go back as I spin the figure around and see where else I need to apply the paint again, build up the highlights. Right here, back of the leg, those folds. Okay. For the base coat, we are good to go. So I'm going to put the mic on mute, and I'm going to use the hairdryer real quick. Okay, use the hairdryer and the figure is pretty much dry. Now I can see where if I need to put any more highlights on. Also, people have asked me, well, I don't see you painting, there's a beige color in the multicam pattern. I would say it's a cork brown, Vallejo cork brown color. And they say, you know, I don't see that you don't use that. Well, I don't, because at this level, it kind of gets lost based on how I'm painting. And then a lot of times in the highlights of these folds, that cork pattern can kind of be represented in a way. So you can always do that, and I have. It's cork brown. Vallejo cork brown is what I have used. But I just found that I was wasting my time on creating an effect that really couldn't be seen on the table. I mean, yeah, it does look pretty in pictures, and if you have the time to paint it really nice, then by all means. But I just don't. I can't. So. Okay. Almost done. Okay, I'm going to use the hairdryer one more time. Okay, so a couple things that I see is, of course, we went from the base coat, which is a shaded base coat, a darker base coat, and then we jumped up to the highlights. And what happens is you have no midtones, and it looks weird. So what I like to do for midtones is I will add some gray to the base color, and in this case I'll use a let's see, Secret Weapon Dark Wood. It's a nice greenish gray. So I'm not going too dark, but what I'm trying to do is introduce a mid shade. I put it into the base color here. Okay, and I'm just going to apply it in the mid areas where it's not too dark but not too light. And what it does is it ties together the colors so that you don't just see a jump from the highlights or from the base coat to the highlights. It's easier on the eyes. And for this demonstration, because of my time constraints, I'm not going to go overboard with it. But I want to at least show you that it is good to have midtones. And for me, I found that adding gray to your base color that you've used creates a nice midtone. Because that actually, the midtones makes the highlights show up even better. Okay. So enough with the midtones there. I could do more, but okay. Now I'm going to do the pattern. Start working on the pattern. If you look at multicam, as I'm talking with you right now, I'm looking at the shirt and pants that are hanging. Multicam itself, the pattern, they're just lines. That's all they are. And they're just lines that just go across, just little hashes. What we're trying to do is create the effect to trick the eye. That's the whole point of all of this. And that's what we're going to do. We're just going to create an effect and make it appear that it does look, it's multicam. I talked about my brushes that I use for faces only, and then I have a separate brush for camouflage only. This is a Winsor Newton Ott. The only time this brush comes out is when I do camo. Once I'm done, I put it right back away. I find that that's best because it preserves the point, and when you need it, you got it. So, okay, chocolate brown. Now, I could go lighter, and I have gone lighter with this brown. I've also gone darker. And I found, in my opinion, the Vallejo chocolate brown is a good mid-tone color for those brown stripes. I don't know what else to call it. The mid-brown stripes, not the dark brown. The mid-brown stripes. Get some of this here. You don't really need a lot. Okay. So, paint's a little thin. Here we go. Sorry if I bumped the camera. So what do I do here? I start mapping things out in my head. Okay, I'm looking at also the two pictures that I have at the top right here of the screen, and I'm looking to see there's a lot of khaki in that, especially at the pants. There's not a lot of the brown, so that's cool. That saves me time. So I'm going to take the brown. I'm also looking at my pattern that's hanging here. Let's look at this part right here. And I'm just going to start doing some thin lines. Just horizontal lines. That's all it is. Because what I'm doing is I'm creating the illusion of the pattern. And a lot of times this brown may be harder to see. And that's why I really feel that the multicam, in the way I paint it at least, pops when you've got the white dots, but especially the dark brown, black lines. Okay. Yep, just squiggly lines. That's all I'm doing. Vertically. I'm sorry, horizontally, not vertically. Because that's how the pattern runs. Now look at the back of the pants here. Just running these stripes. Okay. Yeah, it's hard to tell on this camera, and I apologize, but they're there. They'll start popping up when I apply the green. Okay, let's get to the sleeves. Sorry if this is out of camera. Okay, so I want to make sure that the stripe is running the way it should based on how the arm is. Okay. I might add a little bit more brown, or go back to the brown that I've added already, and just, because it's very thin paint, just putting it right back down to where I put it. The purpose of these videos that I'm doing is to help the gaming community. So it's awesome if you guys share this as well. Share the channel. Let people know that I exist and that these painting tutorials exist. That's what all this is about. Okay, you know what? I think I might just do the helmet as well, just for this demonstration. Yeah, and on the helmet, it's such a small surface, so I'm just kind of stippling a little ways here. This brown. Okay, on to the green. Real quick, I'm going to dry this so I don't screw up my browns. Okay, so I'm going to take flat green. Now I've used lighter greens as well. I've used, let's see, I've used sick green, which we could use. It might be a little bit brighter, might be better for this demonstration. Yeah, but you know, it just really depends upon your mood and what you're trying to achieve. I just recommend that you find a recipe that works for you and then stick with it, because then that will save you time and will also save you sanity. I highly recommend you guys keep recipe books and you know, write everything down, because you think, oh yeah, I'll just remember that. Well, in a lot of cases you won't. So, whew, that was a lot of paint. Okay, so mix it up. That was an extreme amount of paint that came out of that brush, or that bottle. That's one thing I don't like about the Vallejo stuff, is that that can happen at times. I guess if it's been under pressure for whatever reason. Okay, now this is when I start seeing the camouflage really start happening, because we're actually adding color, you know. And this color, this green, is a little bit brighter, but I did this so that you can see it on the screen. So again, looking at the patterns, it's just more lines going across, vertical lines. Very easy, just very relaxed, not too stressed, even though this is live and you could really mess up live and people will laugh at me. Bloody trolls. Okay, here we go, some more green. And a lot of times, if the area is going to be too dark anyway, and I know that it will be dark with the shades, I won't even paint camouflage in there, because it's just going to be too dark. And it's just a matter of time, saving me time, that's all. Someone, I think it was in the modern group, talked about, either that or it was the German modern group, talked about AK Interactive's Camouflage book. It's titled Modern Figure Camouflage. I have the book. It's a pretty good book. I'm going to get some to sell. I recommend it. It's nice. It's got good techniques. I have a couple of AK Interactive paints. What do I think about them? They're not MIG ammo by MIG paints. I don't really care too much for AK Interactive paints, but I am going to be fair, going to get their modern desert uniform paint set and give it a go, give it a try, based on their recipe and their recommendations on this guide. I do have their German Flecktarn set, and I was not pleased with it at all. I asked Glenn; he heard many of tales of woe from me trying to paint Flecktarn with that set. It didn't work out good. I got pissy. Okay, so now you can start seeing the browns come up and the greens, so the camouflage pattern is starting to take effect. Okay, so I'm just kind of scanning the area here. Hopefully you guys can see this. Get some better light. I apologize, my head bumped one of the lights. I've got 7 lights here on this desk. Okay. Cool. Okay, now is where I think the fun really starts. And that's using the dark brown. It's the Vallejo Cam Black Brown color. And that's when I start doing the black, dark black brown spots. And when I paint these, I just kind of think when I was a kid in elementary school, I would draw birds in the air, draw birds on pieces of paper, and they were just V's. That's all they were, nothing special. That's the same thing with this color. And I would also say, in my opinion, this is one of the most important colors, because this is what really starts bringing out that multicam feel. So I'm going to go a little bit slower. Let's see here. So sometimes you'll see them as dots. And they're vertical lines. And these are the swirly. Now, if you're doing the British version, you can always add more swirls. That's the difference. I mean, even at the Woodland DPM, other than, of course, the greens, the colors are different. But that swirl, that brown, that dark brown black swirl, is what makes it different. Okay. When getting these figures modeled, sculpted, we did our best to make sure that we got all the damn pouches where they should be. So I think we did a really good job, in my opinion. I know I'm a little biased, but okay. See how I just kind of did that? Just dot, dot, dot. Just vertical. Sorry, God. Horizontal dots. Horizontal little lines, little jabs. Okay, let's see, how's it going here? I need some up here. Hope you guys can see this. Still just doing more lines. Okay. Cool. I think we are good. Let's see a couple more here. Couple more on this arm. Let's see here. That's going to be all shaded anyway. Okay, awesome. Now, the last part, which I think is also the most important, is this white dots. Now, depending upon the uniform color and how bright I went, beigey I went, depends upon the color that I use for the dots. And in this case, I think I'm going to use the off-white because it's whiter. It will show up better on camera. So this is Game Color Off-White. Now these dots, again, they're white dots, and a lot of them tie in to the other colors that have been laid down, and kind of connects it. Let's see. Mixing this up. Okay. Here we go. Focus. White dots. Here we go. And they're just kind of scattered about. But I tell you what, once this white hits, that's to me is when the pattern is just yeah, that's where you can tell that yeah, this is multicam. Yeah. Now, if I was painting this for pictures, just to sell, for figure, on the website and stuff, I would be taking more time with the dots and the lines. But for this, I think this is hopefully serving its purpose and showing people how you can do it stress-free. Just get in there. Okay, also you see these white dots look like those birds that I talked about, this is the V's. So that's what I'm doing, just little dots. I hope that you guys can see this. Also, a lot of times a little is too much, so you don't want to overdo the white. Okay. Awesome. Again, I use a little bit brighter colors so that you could see it more on the screen, in the video. And they're going to get toned down anyway with wash. Okay. So part of the discipline for me is for this purpose or this demonstration, I am done with painting the camel. So that means I take my brush, camouflage brush, get it off the painting table, put it back in the rack. Okay, a couple things I see that might be able to help break up this so it looks like, it looks like the multicam pattern. I gotta find some browns. Let's see here. Let's see what this is going to look like. So I'm going to grab this German Cam Orange. And for time savers, I'm going to use a different brush. Grabbing another Winsor Newton brush. Let's see. Just a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to take this color and paint the sides here where Velcro is. Because I'm just trying to break this khaki up so that the multicam can be seen easier. And I'm going to use the same color right down here. That may not have been the best color choice for this, but that's okay. Paint that. Okay, and I'm going to do the other Velcro pouches over here. Also, for this demonstration, I'm going to paint the gloves that color, just get some color on it. Okay. I am going to now paint the knee pads a green. Let's see. challenge is finding a green that doesn't look like the green color I used for the camouflage. So we'll see if this is good. So this is Reaper Shadow Green. I love this green color. Love it. I use it a lot. Okay, here we go. Okay. There's not much color there, and that's okay, because my time is almost up, and there's some things I want to do before. Okay. I'm going to use the hairdryer real quick. Okay, the other important thing I think to help tie camouflage together with the rest of the figure is by applying a brown shade wash to create this filter, and I'm going to use Strong Tone, which is apparently the same as Agrex Earthshade. I want this thin. I don't want this too dark or too dense. How does this look? Perfect. Okay, so I'm just going to apply the wash. And this is creating a filter. It's tricking the eye. Also, it's toning down the white spots. Okay. And it creates a nice little shade. You know, it goes in the crevices. Okay, I'm gonna dry this real quick. Okay, let's get them back into focus here. Yep, that's definitely toned down the colors. And so now I'm going to add some more layers of shade real quick. And I'm going to do that just for this demonstration. I'm going to take, let's see, the blue tone, Army Painter blue tone. Blue and khaki work really good together as far as the shade. But for me, the trick is that it's diluted well. Okay, so we're looking at this figure. Where's the most shadow areas at? Right here between in the crotch. The waist. Let's see here. Definitely under the arm here. Right up here. Lots of shadow there. Okay. Where's the shadow areas at here? Well, back of the pants. Underneath the arm. This whole area. So now I might even go darker, and I will mix the Agaric's Earthshade with the blue. Back of the arm. The elbow right here. Okay. So then I look around the figure and see if there's any pooling of that paint, and I'll start moving it about. Okay, we'll use the dryer. Okay, that's it. Let's see, get in focus. That is how I do multicam. Now again, if I'm not doing a demonstration, especially a live video, I'm going a lot slower, but I had a little bit over an hour before I have to do things with the family. So that's it. I see there's a bit of a delay here. I don't know why. Who knows? I don't know why there's a slow and stream. I'm still doing 30 frames per second, but I don't know. Well, I hope this helps, guys. I hope you can see it. This is it. Again, this is how I do the multicam. And if there's anything I can do, please message me. My name is Tim Spakowski. You can also email me at tim@footsoreminiatures.co.uk. I'll be happy to help you guys. And if you're wanting to see any other kind of pattern, let me know, and I can do it. I think someone asked me about the old Chocolate Chip Desert Storm pattern. That's a very easy pattern to do. That doesn't take that long. I'd say multicam takes the longest, but I have yet to tackle or even attempt tiger stripe pattern from Vietnam. So well, that might be harder. So okay. Well, I'm looking to see the video, wanting it to catch up on the live end. Yep. Okay, have a good weekend, everyone. Thank you for watching.